at the individual dimension, and I would now switch to Dr. Ajanta Chakravarti. Ajanta, you've seen all kinds of lives, as an employee, as a dean of an institution, as a freelancer, as an entrepreneur, as a social worker. I think you've kind of done all kind of work in your career. In a company, you have the organization taking care of reskilling you and upskilling you. As a freelancer, how do you meet that challenge? How do you stay relevant?
Now, Wilson also doesn't make footballs. Wilson goes to small companies in Sialkot. Sialkot is, I never knew that Sialkot was the hub of the world's football. And these small companies don't have any employees. Because if you have employees, you have to have rules. You have to follow the various government legislations and requirements, which they don't want to do. So they outsource this work to individuals, women mostly, young girls mostly, and who work on their own time in their home, after doing the housework and all, whatever little time they have, they spend it making football. And this economy has been going on for 100 years plus. How is it so successful? Because when you ask the women, United Nations carried out a survey on this, and then they asked the women that it's a gig economy. That's how it was labeled. That how it just goes on and on and on. You are not very well paid, number one. Number two, you are paid by the piece. So if you have done if the supervisor comes and says, "Oh, it's not done well. No, I'm not paying you for this." He takes your fees. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, but still you and all kinds of stuff, But so still you are happy with this. And they say that we are not educated enough to get any other work. So this is adding something to the family income pool, and it works for us. Very well educated, who are very well skilled, and some of them decide to do this out of choice, right? If you decide to do it out of choice, it's one story. But some of this do it because of circumstance. At this moment, every time my phone rings and I see a particular name and I'm like, my God, is that another one? And they call and say, you know what, I'm planning to become a consultant like you. So I said, welcome to this world. Yeah. Welcome to the world of consultants. Knowing fully well, because I've seen them over the last 30 years, when they are disappointed with the organization for some reason, they put in their papers and they say, we want to become consultants, fine. And within 6 months, I find they have gone back to the industry. So when I ask them what happened, so, the vulnerability of being a freelance consultant, the fact that you are not going to have work day on day on day on day. Learning in as many fields as possible as you can is very, very important. Many years ago, one of my professors told me that, Ajanta, you're going about it in completely the wrong way. You need to focus on one and become very, very specialized in it. And at that time, Amartya Sen had just won the Nobel Prize. And he gave a talk, which I was listening very carefully. And he said, if somebody asked me what has helped you to get the Nobel Prize, he said, it is my ability to straddle so many disciplines at the same time. And I listened to him and I said, I think I'm going to listen to Amartya Sen.
That what clearly comes through is the ability of the freelancers to continuously invest in own self, being self-directed and continuously learn through the life, and also increase the breadth as much as possible to be able to comprehend and understand. It resonates with what we found through the customer testimonials also, if you rightly said. Customers prefer to work with those agents who are, able to gel it so quickly. And so I think it completely resonates. Thank you so much for that. Let me ask a young freelancer of why, Jyoti, did you choose not to go for a permanent employment? You chose to work as a free agent, and you've been successfully doing that for a while now.
6 years back, so I was into research and analytics and due diligence. Digital marketing started with a small niche area for LinkedIn marketing and email marketing. From there, I thought I'm not able to dedicate much of a time, but let me try enough side hustle. I got a small client in. He told me, I won't be able to give you much, I won't be investing much, but you got to give me at least 10 hours or 20 hours a week, and I'll be able to pay you almost less than 5K. Will that do? I said, okay, let's go ahead with that. But when I started the side hustle, it took off my weekends completely because at that time I was pretty much young at around 25, 26. So that did not happen. But I realized that with the work side hustle, you have to keep improving your skills. I took up the courses. That time, online courses were not available around 6 to 7 years ago. Like today, for digital marketing, we have it now. I went to the weekend courses. I was doing my regular job, research, analytics. That was around 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. Side hustle. I was a bachelor at that time, so that made my life a little easier. But when I took up complete freelancing projects, I made sure that I'll have less in plate, quality time, like Manoj told very clearly, because people expect you to be very committed, at least minimum 30 to 40 hours a week, so that you don't have a complete full plate. You're having 10 clients, but you're not able to dedicate much of your time. Take less people, around 3 to 4 clients, take on a retainer basis, focus them on more. Once you're able to give a good accuracy and good quality, then you move ahead. Very few people realize that. Many people told me that you are doing good, so why don't you take up more clients? Because I cannot handle myself. The only one, because as a lone person, I have one more partner. Now we have started taking up bigger projects. So we don't focus on big projects. We focus on very small budgeted, around 50K, sometimes around 1 lakh or 1.5 lakh budget, but we don't go beyond that because that means more time, that means more than 40 to 50 hours a week, and we don't have time. People
Very
expect
interesting.
that, yeah, also because with that, whatever you are able to earn, I would say invest around 50 to 20% in upscaling yourself.
Your own boss, you don't have anybody controlling you, but self-controlling is the most difficult thing to do. I think that's where most freelancers struggle. So my next question is to Rolf. And Rolf, you also wanted to say something. Do you
Yeah,
want to say that before I ask the question? Yeah.
let me add something. My daughter is now 23, and she finished her first study, and I think she will do the master in the next 2 years. What is really missing is that young people in school, they don't learn what it means to be independent and self-employed. And they don't know what it is to be a consultant. They don't learn it. I'm teaching at university, and I know some of my students, they want to go in this direction, and I gave them some material to learn what it means to be a consultant. And what I think, and that's something that is also from the worldwide perspective, I don't know any university teaching people really to be self-employed and to be a consultant.
We do know that in your part of the world, there are most people are independent contractors. I think it's more skewed towards being independent consultants than being a permanent employee for a firm. As against India, which is still moving in that direction. Of course, I'm talking about only knowledge work and not the raw skill jobs here, which I know traditionally India has been always leading the way there. But in terms of knowledge work, I know there is a lot of work that has happened in the European belt around building more social security for free agents. So in your experience of having trained, coached, and being there, helped so many professionals, have you, would you like to share some thoughts around what really has happened? What have your, the countries in that region have been able to do to protect and extend some of these privileges to the, freelance workers and contractual workers as well in the country?
So in Germany, we are a social state. Even if you get out of employment, even if you don't get unemployed money anymore, you get money from the state. And they also try to get you into a new employment We have special offices where you go then and say, you know, I lost my job, and then you need to put your data in, and then you first of all get some money, and then they try to find a new job for you. How good or bad this works, I do not want to talk about that one, but first of all, we have that. But I think we're the standard of security of people in these countries is very high. So, and
to survive and to stay relevant in the free agent world, you need to develop a lot of resilience, because there are times that you're going to be vulnerable, like the word Ajanta used. I mean, if I may borrow that for a while, you are highly vulnerable, as long as you don't. So there is a lot of resilience. There is a lot of emotional stress that a free agent goes through. So, and you are a specialist in developing those kind of skills. So, is there anything that you would like to add in terms of how will it take to develop humanistic skills, which are predominantly showing up as most required to survive in a free agent world?
You know, I was smiling when Ajanta was talking about freelance and being a consultant, and then people go back after a year. Because one of the most important, and I had some people also asking me, they want to be independent, and the question I was asking them is, do you have at least 1 year of money in your bank account to pay yourself for 1 year? Do you have that?
Yeah.
If they say no, I would say maybe you stay a little bit more in the job and you save your money. Because the most important thing is, if you're independent, you need to be relaxed. If you're not relaxed, you're not getting a job. And if the more nervous you become, the worse it gets. You're not able to do a good job, and you take jobs that you cannot do. You just take them to get the money.
So
right?
Simply put, but it's a very powerful point, Rolf, to stay relaxed and not to get nervous, because that's when you really lose it. You're open to picking free agents, because there are many areas where organizations do suffer from unpredictability of demand, or not being able to hold on to some of those costs and affordability of some niche skills, etc. Therefore, there is an openness to pick freelancing talent. But like Ajanta, Jyoti, and Rolf have very clearly pointed out, that to survive in a freelancing world, it takes a lot and a lot more. And of course, you have to keep learning and keep upskilling yourself to stay, to expertise and specialize and get more proficient in the skill area that you are in. But beyond all that, what is more important is, like Ajanta said, the painful thing of getting all the soft skills, mastering all the softer aspects of the humanistic skills, as I would say. And that